Spare a thought for the social justice activists. They are the oppressed, the marginalised, the victims of deeply embedded power structures, and the only people who support them in their struggle are big tech, all major corporations, the managerial classes, academia, Hollywood, the BBC, the army, the police, the civil service, the United States government, and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. It isn't easy being the underdog. But this week they had a little victory in their ongoing culture war. PayPal, the online payments company, closed a number of accounts, including the Free Speech Union. There was no explanation, but it is highly likely that this was politically motivated. Apparently, it's not enough to criticise and argue with those you disagree with. You have to prevent them from being able to use public services as well. And it's been very strange to see thousands of self-proclaimed left-wingers cheering on PayPal and attacking anyone who is troubled by this kind of big tech censorship. Since when was it a left-wing value to support the idea of multi-billion-dollar corporations deciding on the parameters of acceptable thought and speech? I must have missed that bit in the Communist Manifesto. Some public figures took a principled stance. The comedian Jack D announced that he was closing his PayPal account, saying big tech companies that feel they can bully people for questioning mainstream groupthink don't deserve anyone's business. And of course, he received a lot of flack for this, as can be expected, because defending liberal values these days is a risky business. Of course, there's nothing new about big tech clamping down on certain opinions. The subscription service Patreon has ditched customers in the past for seemingly political reasons, thereby making it very difficult for some people to maintain their living. YouTube frequently demonetizes users whose views don't align with their own. And you might say, well, these are private companies, they can do whatever they like. But by that logic, Facebook should be allowed to ban users who happen to be gay. Except they can't, because if you offer a public service, it's illegal to discriminate on the basis of sexuality. But it's also illegal to discriminate on the basis of political beliefs. PayPal Europe is based in Luxembourg, and the corporate headquarters are in California. Now, if they were located in London, it seems unlikely they could get away with this. In a democratic society, we surely don't want companies who offer financial services to decide on which opinions are valid. Their customers' political views are surely nothing to do with them. And the same goes for social media platforms. These now represent the de facto public square. And so claiming that censorship can only be enacted by the state is an argument that is about 20 years out of date. We're in the digital age now, and we need to keep up with the new ways that authoritarianism can take hold. Our current Tory government is still persisting with its online safety bill, which puts the onus on social media companies to remove what they call legal but harmful speech. There will be huge financial penalties should they fail, which of course is an open invitation for big tech to censor even more than they currently do. If certain offensive words or ideas could be seen as causing harm, they'll just get rid of them. And the problem is that any words could cause emotional distress to someone. It's all hopelessly subjective. So as I see it, we need to do two things to address these problems. The first is we need to restore the understanding that words are not violence. Nobody is made unsafe because of the opinions of others. Nobody is harmed by someone else's viewpoint. They might be upset, but that's not the same thing as a physical attack. And unless we maintain this distinction, we're laying the groundwork for future tyranny. And the second thing that I think we need to do is to ensure that big tech companies cannot discriminate in accordance with their own ideological worldview. This is especially important given that major corporations are all seemingly in lockstep when it comes to the new religion of critical social justice. They just don't seem to tolerate viewpoint diversity within their own ranks. So we certainly don't want that brand of intolerance imposed on society as a whole. The Chinese government has a social credit system which sees citizens punished by limiting their ability to make transactions if they fail to conform to the ideology of the ruling class. Do we really want to copy this model? Do we really want to empower big tech to be our moral overlords? And by the way, companies like PayPal exist solely to make money. They weren't established in some sort of spirit of pure philanthropy and benevolence. If it's moral guidance that you're after, try a priest or a teacher or a parent, or better still, your own conscience. But avaricious multi-billion-dollar companies who sell your data to advertisers and whose moral compass fluctuates according to the interests of their shareholders? Not so sure about that. You can call me a skeptic if you like. but I don't believe that such plutocrats are fit for the role of guardian angels.